Hello, everyone. This is Andrew Meyer. I will be explaining to you the soul complex today. Thank you, everyone from the Loving Source Sanctuary, for listening in. Um, Basically, what the soul complex is to me is a understanding of what a perfectly balanced soul would look like. I have made many changes over the years. I've been working on this honestly over 3 years now. And it basically came from just like understanding and trying to put together, different traditions in a way that, looking at the similarities between them instead of looking at the differences and trying to understand that in a structured format. And it led me to create many iterations of the Soul Complex. Um, and one of the basic things that I don't know if I've correctly explained is that if you kind of want to balance concepts out, you want to balance faith with sacrifice, you want to balance order with wholeness, acceptance with passion. These outer circles here, I consider them emanations of source. So, order, faith, passion, wholeness, sacrifice, and acceptance. Emanations in the same way, the Zoroastrian concept, I would say that order corresponds with the Amesha um, Asha. Faith corresponds to the Amesha Spenta Almighty. Passion is Bohumana, which is like a very, um, like it means good purpose, good mind, good words, good deeds, very direct um, energy. Wholeness is a Harvatat, which very directly corresponds with um, what the uh, Avesta in Persian would be. So a wholeness would be like, things coming together, things, a circle coming and completing itself, um, and just like a sense of wholeness. Sacrifice, if you wanted to call that discipline, I wouldn't begrudge you. I think it corresponds with the Amesha Spenta Kashafra Varya. It's and it's kind of like cutting away the things that keep us from the goals in our life, that energy of like if something is pulling me back, I'm going to cut it off and I'm going to move forward. I have that disciplined energy. Acceptance, I think this corresponds with the Amesha spent the Amartat, which means basically immortality, things are going to keep going, and that energy I feel corresponds with the acceptance. Of course, this is working with English words, and I'm not, I don't feel like English is the best language to explain these concepts because they're very fluid and a lot of their interpretations, and there's a lot of sticky concepts attached to these connotations. So this is just my best attempt at understanding, the way this works. I use the actually before creating this, I didn't even know what the Metatron's cube was. I just wanted to put these concepts together in a way that made sense, and I discovered the Metatron's cube in my attempt of finding that. So between order and faith is knowledge. Faith and courage, passion. Faith in this context is not believing in what everyone tells you to, but trusting inside yourself, faith in yourself, and also faith in source. Um, that's kind of the theme here is that you kind of have these inner and outer concepts of each of these emanations and with these other concepts as well, there's an inner and outer understanding of that. Um, with passion, it's very much the same. There's an inner and outer passion. There's inner and outer wholeness. There's inner and outer sacrifice. There's inner and outer acceptance and inner and outer order. You know, I feel like you have to balance these things, and also they balance with the concept that would be corresponding. So you want to balance your faith was your sacrifice. You want to understand that. We also have the um, the red one here, purpose. I believe these correspond fairly closely to chakras. I wouldn't say this is a perfect, you know, um, a perfect conceptualization of them. This is really just a conceptualization for my purpose of working with them. But, the understanding of chakras is very fluid if you look at the history of them. And I feel that the way that I'm using them is not too far from their intended purposes and from my understanding of them. So we have the red Muladhara chakra. I believe that its purpose and its literal translation is fluxing foundation. So it's kind of like a foundational strength one. A lot of people correspond with low energy. I feel like there is no such thing as low or high energy. I feel that all energy has a purpose in our life. It has a need in our lives, and we should just look to balance that person instead of saying, "Oh, this is a lower chakra. And these are higher chakras." I feel like that's kind of where a lot of people misunderstand. Yes, you do want to get past this and get to the higher realms of understanding, but it's just as important as the other ones. For orange, I put joy. Um, I feel that that was the best understanding of that. It is called Savashara, which means literally in Sanskrit, the seat of the self. It is where the self resides. So this is a little more, what we would call selfish, but in a way looking at self-love and looking for joy in things that are not just the material, finding joy in the little things, that it's not unspiritual to be happy about everything, that this idea that to be spiritual we must be completely cut off from the rest of the world, I feel is not the whole picture. We need to have joy in our hearts. We need to experience joy not from external things. We shouldn't seek external validation, but get it through the world that we are in, the world that Source gave us. Truly. So this is the one what they call solar plexus, the Manipura, the lustrous gem. Um, Empowerment is the concept that I felt closely, corresponded with that chakra. And so how you'd understand that would be it's between sacrifice and passion. So this one would be yang, a yang energy. Um, Joy is between faith and wholeness. So this would be a yin energy, foundationally. And purpose is between order and passion. So this is the core of what it is. And then you would have concepts like faith being like kind of as a crux to kind of balance it out. This doesn't correspond with it exactly, but it kind of balances out, how it is. So faith and intuition. So we go into here, faith and intuition. Intuition can really uh, put our purpose in a strong place. If we are not in touch with our intuition, our purpose could be completely off track, and we can find our purpose in things that really don't bring us closer to the source, that really don't help us grow. Um, with joy, this is very yin at its foundation, and it's like accepting the world as it is. Um, not in this concept, but like having faith that source has our back. And then a wholeness, knowing that we don't need external validation. Purpose corresponds to faith. It seems like a weird way for that, but it actually is really crucial because the faith in ourselves can also be as powerful as our faith in source. We shouldn't see faith in ourselves the same way we see people being confident, and in the way in the West that we consider that like that's a bad thing. No, it's good to be confident. It's good to have faith in yourself. confidence. That's Latin. The fide is Latin for faith. That you should have faith in yourself. You should believe in yourself, not to the point that you don't look at reason. And this one really corresponds with like reasoning and looking at the world through a very structural lens, but from that very structural, you know, energy, you need to truly connect it to, a more yin energy, faith, joy, passion. You need to have intention. You need to be intentional when you are joyous about things. You need to be intentional about it. You truly do. And empowerment, wholeness, gratitude. You can be the most empowered person, the most energetic person, trying to achieve your goals, trying to be the best person you possibly could be. But if you don't have gratitude for those around you, or gratitude for yourself, and seeing how far you have come and appreciating it, you are going to lose that empowerment. It's going to be fleeting. You can push yourself as hard as you can, but if you're not grateful to those around you and to yourself, it can become a really corrupting force. And that's why I truly believe there's no such thing as, you know, good and bad energy. There's just balanced and unbalanced energy. Energy that's not connected in the way that it should be to these other, energies. Um, so it can really, I don't feel that there's a darkness. And people have, you know, had this criticism of the soul complex that I didn't put any negative energies to balance it out. I'm like, there is no, our soul, I truly believe, is inherently good. Zarathustra, Zoroaster said that we are inherently good, that our soul, the part of source that's inside of us, and even the rest of us, is inherently good. But we forget that. We get caught in the druge, the lie, the deception, that we are not good at our core, and we believe that to the point that we act out on that. And I think that's sad. It's sad that people act out on that. For the heart chakra, um, we have freedom. I think actually corresponds to that, because if you don't feel, some people consider it love, or like pure love or pure compassion, but I feel like that's really freedom in the most inner and outer aspect. You want to have other people be free to be themselves, but also feel free to be yourself. It's a very inner and outer aspect. I think it's inherently yin, because it's, you're accepting the world as it is, but also understanding that you yourself are whole, and understanding the world itself is whole, and there's nothing inherently wrong with the world. The world is good. It's just a lot of people get caught up in lies, and a lot of people are unbalanced. So in that, in freedom, sometimes we forget that we need to sacrifice and have discipline, and that corresponds here with responsibility. Um, responsibility right here. Um, so if you have, with freedom comes responsibility. You need to be responsible for your actions. If you want freedom, you need to accept the responsibility that comes with it. And I feel some people don't quite understand that, but I think everyone deserves freedom. I think everyone should, accept the responsibility that comes with it. Um, for the blue, the throat chakra, the Vishuddha, it's between sacrifice and order, and that's, very much a very powerful one, because it's sacrifice, disciplining yourself, putting yourself in a place of service of others, becoming a very responsible person, and order, knowing the difference between right and wrong. People that are naturally attuned to righteousness have a clear sense of right and wrong inside themselves. It's really natural to them. It's a gift that they have, and I think it's really beautiful. But here's the thing: is that it's a naturally yang concept, though, and what you need to counterbalance that is acceptance. You know, acceptance, tranquility is how it manifests in the deeper levels. If you're righteous, you need to also be tranquil. You need to go with the flow on some level. Yes, someone might be breaking the rules, but are they hurting someone? No, just be chill about it. Honestly, like, um, so between acceptance and faith is the what I would say is wisdom. Some people say, oh, it should be indigo. I feel it's a little closer to purple. Some people say, oh, this one, where is the, uh, violet one? You know, a misunderstanding in modern, because we tried to put the chakra so close to the, color spectrum in Western society, this misunderstanding that the crown chakra is a chakra within itself, when in reality it's considered a combination of all the chakras coming together in a way that allows us to connect to Brahman or the source. It's a real connector. It's not a true chakra within itself, and there are other concepts that are called chakras, but I feel that it's not really needed. And the closest thing to like the crown chakra, I would say, is love. But back to wisdom, acceptance and faith. Faith, you understand things happen, you're accepting of it. Um, Very chill energy. Um, but here's the thing: when you're a wise person, you need to be aware. A lot of wise people are not very aware of the world that they're living in. They need to balance that awareness, and each one of these um, inner concepts need to be balanced with their corresponding concept as well. These kind of act as like a crux to kind of like put it in place, and then wisdom and empowerment should be balanced with each other. Joy and righteousness should be balanced with each other. Freedom and purpose should be balanced with each other in a way, for example, righteousness and joy, you should be do the right thing, but still, have joy in people's lives. You can be as wise as possible, wise as sage, but if you have no empowerment, how are you going to put your plans into action? You could be free to do anything in the world, but if there's no purpose behind it, what's the point of living? Like, do you really, like, you have purpose, but it's like you should not put that onto other people. You should put that onto yourself and be free and let other people be free. These all balance each other out. And I feel like when people are imbalanced, these negative things arise in them. Um, that separates us from the source. You just want to be balanced. So we have these inner concepts. We have these, I would call these ones on the outer part: simplicity, knowledge, courage, patience, um, celebration, and actualization. These are important concepts, but they're very much more for how we interact with the world. These are more esoteric, and these are more exoteric. These ones right here: simplicity, knowledge, courage, patience, actualization, celebration. It's ways of really ritual and being a part of the world, and they balance each other out too. Sometimes you need to be courageous. You need to fight for what you believe in. But at the same time, sometimes you just need to be patient and let things take their course. Sometimes you could have all this knowledge about the world and how it works, but if you have no plans to actualize them or the ability to, what's the point? Celebration and simplicity, people I feel in this world feel that um, we really do need to celebrate people. We need to celebrate little things in our life, little joys, little accomplishments in our life. We need to give ourselves little accomplishments, but we don't need to go full out. We don't need to have these ridiculous parties for ourselves. We don't need to have huge weddings whenever we just want to, show others that like, hey, I love this person and I want to be with them. Nothing against getting married, but weddings are just sometimes people go way too far with their, spending. Simplicity and celebration can bounce her out. But also being too simple in life, you kind of have that kind of Buddhist conception of, you know, there are two things in my life and they're equally important to me, but it's like you need to celebrate certain things. If someone's putting effort and passion into your life, you need to celebrate it. And that's not opposed to simplicity. The point is balance. You need to balance things out. Creativity and resilience, sometimes you need to stick to the way things have always been done because, maybe that works. Maybe you should listen to your elders and like push through. And sometimes you need to find a new way of doing things, being creative in that way. Um, Empathy and detachment, balance each other out. You could be there for someone 100% all the time, but on some level, you could drain yourself of that and you lose your ability to be detached from it because you're so much in it that all your energy is involved in that. You can't give them, a real answer detached from their emotions. And I feel that you need to balance that out. In the same way, detachment, you shouldn't be detached from the world itself and all your feelings. You need to have empathy for those around you. These are really, I think, a lot of these things in a lot of our minds, we see these as opposed to each other. That I have to be either one or the other. And this one's good and this one's bad. Or this one's bad and this one's good. But it really is furthest from the truth. You need balance. Um, Integrity and understanding. You want to understand people and where they're coming from and be like, hey, that's really hard. I understand why you did this thing to this person. I want to, you know, forgive you. I want to um, not judge you. But at the same time, you need to have integrity. If they did something wrong to someone else, are they going to do something wrong to you? If that's still if they haven't left that mindset that they were in at the time, like, are they going to do the same thing to you? And then it's not your job to reduce your integrity to pretend that you're someone that you're not just to be more understanding to other people. Because some people feel like you have to, because people, when they want understanding, they kind of want the other person to be at the same level they're at. But you have to admit that sometimes you're at a higher state of integrity than the other person in that area, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. For being like, I have these core inner values and I'm going to choose to walk away from being your friend, being the person that in your life because that's what I need to do to keep my integrity. I can't lie. I can't be that bad person if I'm around you. I understand who you are. That's okay, but I'm not going to reduce myself. So we have here responsibility and intuition. We have the things that we took on. The responsibility is not what other people put on us, but the things we put on ourselves. Things that we decided to do for our actions or our words. If you have a kid, you are responsible for that kid. That there are no ifs, ands, and buts about it. You are responsible, and you shirk your responsibility. That is, unless if you really do feel in your intuition that that's the right thing to do, that you really cannot be there for that kid. You have to trust that your responsibility and intuition bounce her out because sometimes deep down even though I said I'm gonna take this on, there's there are reasons why you understand why you can't do that. Don't And also intuition, don't take on more than you can chew. You have to balance these two out. Um, really hard thing about intuition is when is it intuition and when is it anxiety? It's very hard to understand that. It's very hard to know when you're at this level or you're not anxiety. Um, so intention and tranquility. Intention's a very, it's wanting things. And wanting things, desiring things, craving things is not inherently bad. I want to say that again. Wanting things is not inherently bad. And I feel in spirituality we kind of left away from that. I feel that all our wants are bad. No.